The word unstoppable gets thrown around a lot these days, but lava is one of the few things on Earth that actually lives up to the hype. Even with modern technology, it can't be stopped or blocked for long. It consumes and reshapes everything in its path, and that might sound terrifying. But to many living in Hawaii, lava is just a part of life, something to coexist with, a dance of destruction and creation. Maybe it's a small price to pay for dwelling in a paradise on Earth, but still, why continue to live in the path of destruction?
Kilauea, on Hawaii's Big Island, is the world's longest erupting volcano, which also makes it one of the most dangerous in the US. It's been going off since 1983, with a few short breaks.
And just this week, it started erupting again. But communities around Kilauea are still recovering from a much bigger 2018 eruption, which destroyed roads and wiped out around 600 homes.
So why do people live near an actively erupting volcano?
Why would you build a house in an area that's prone to wildfire?
I would take a volcano disaster over any other disaster any day.
It's very, very spiritual. It's connection, and connection to people, to land, to plants, to the environment around it.
We all, to a certain extent, gamble in terms of where we choose to live.
Our Hawaiian families live here, and we know that whatever the risk is, that we live on an island with a volcano, we have to live with it.
No one died in this lava flow, not one person.
You get to grow really good crops. You get to grow the best fruits ever, and for me, it's a dream.
Ingrid lives and works at her family's citrus orchard in Puna. It falls within what's called a kapuka, or an area of green land surrounded by hardened lava flow.
So we're gonna go to what used to be our gate. Now it's 60 feet. I think, I'm not really sure. 60 feet lava wall. Imagine a gate here. And then our driveway, now it's lava.
It actually feels like we're on another planet. This is real life. Floor is lava, the game. So how does it make you feel every day, seeing all this?
It's sad, but at the same time, it's beautiful.
In the orchard, the trees still haven't fully recovered from the 2018 eruption, but this year, they expect the return of a good crop. In the long term, ash and other volcanic emissions actually create super fertile soils.
The soil, the climate, everything in Kapoho is just perfect for farming, and we're very lucky. Like, we have our houses, we can still farm, we can still be productive and, earn eventually next year, hopefully. I think wherever you live, you have to coexist with your environment. And with the lava, for me, it's really worth it because my kids are growing up in the most epic place in the world.
Some residents lost their homes completely and yet still choose to stay. Like Deb. Her house was destroyed by lava in 2018, so she bought a surviving property nearby.
Hey, Deb! Great to see you, Deb. We're at the beginning of your way home.
Yeah, that's what's been frustrating. It's only 700 feet of lava that's keeping us from going home.
But 700 feet of lava is...
It's treacherous, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been years since the first lava flowed, but Deb's still waiting on road access to be restored. Now she spends about 2 hours total every day commuting back and forth across a lava field.
We're trying to get our roads back so we can rebuild. We kept thinking it was going to happen. Well, it never has. So we continue to hike and bike out here. There was some feelings in the beginning that we shouldn't be allowed to go back. I'm guessing 18 months minimum before we can actually drive home again. Our age, we can't keep doing this.
These residents are far from alone in having to cope with the tempers of a volcano. More than 80% of the Earth's surface is of volcanic origin. And about 800 million people live within roughly 62 miles of an active volcano. While Kilauea's high level of activity makes it extremely dangerous, no one was killed directly by the 2018 event, although there were injuries. But even without deaths, the threat of occasional fiery destruction isn't exactly great for the real estate market. In general, Hawaii is a super expensive place to live. It has the highest median home price in the US. Some people live near Kilauea because it's just a lot cheaper.
A lot of people I know had moved to Puna because it's cheap, because the land is affordable there. And then they were so devastated when the lava came and took their land and took their house. And some of them just couldn't recover from it. It's because you don't have the understanding that the native people have.
That is an understanding of Tutupele, the volcano goddess.
What's about to happen over here?
We're giving our offering to the creator, to Pelehonuamea, who is the deity of fire that's here, and the deity of lava.
Over this drop-off is the crater.
Yeah, right below this is the Hohalema'uma'u crater. Pele really is the earth and the movements of the earth that create more land. She is the one that expands our island and creates more land, as well as cleanses the island when there's need for the island to be cleaned. It's the practice of the native families to prepare their house for the arrival of a special guest. When lava's coming towards their village or towards their subdivision, the native families will go outside and mow the lawn. They'll go outside, rake all the leaves up, and most of the times, those are the houses that are spared.
Even though many non-natives have attempted to erase Hawaiian culture and language, the power of Pele persists and even strengthens with each eruption.
When we see lava moving and we see magma moving, we know that that is the Pele that we're chanting to. It's creating more acreage onto the landscape.
Kilauea isn't like the explosive volcanoes you might see in places like Indonesia. That's because Kilauea is a shield volcano. They're wide dome-like mountains, and well, they kind of look like shields lying on the ground. Their basalt lava is relatively thin, making their eruptions less explosive than others, which give people more time to run. But even with a head start, when their lava begins flowing, things can get pretty intense.
A fountain of lava more than 100 feet high. Telephone poles lighting up like matchsticks.
There is nothing they can do. This is an unstoppable force.
There's really no words to describe this. It's surreal, it's terrifying. One thing we found in the eruption was there was a distinct lack of information being shared through official channels. A lot of the information that we were getting through official channels was a day late and $1 short.
Today, Dane and his team at Hawaii Tracker are the go-to guys for all storm and volcano updates on the island. They crowdsource information on social media to give residents real-time intel on local conditions.
Plenty of times things would come across the wire from civil defense that would be 12 hours late, which doesn't cut it in the eruption that magnitude.
They were my source of information. When the flow was coming in, it's such a weird feeling, like your stomach is hurting, like it's just the anxiety because it's crawling, like it's coming. And there's no news, no nothing, no update for days and days, but it's Hawaii Tracker that's been keeping us posted on where it is now.
The Hawaiians from Kalapana that had been experiencing the ongoing eruption of Pu'u'o for the past 35 years. They know what it's like to lose a home. They know what it's like to have to evacuate all of your belongings.
If you wasn't raised here on the big island where the volcano lives, you don't understand what happens when the lava flows. When the lava came down the road, since I was a little girl, you just have to move on a side and let her go. And then when it's all done, you come back and recover.
Emily is a former city councilwoman. She's involved in efforts to restore a boat ramp in Kalapana that's been covered and blocked by lava since the 2018 eruption. One boat ramp might not sound like a big deal, but for the fishing community, it's an essential part of their life and livelihood.
Because we have poverty and we don't have that ramp to go out to be able to get some fish to bring home for the eating or to take the fish to the market, hard for survive in a proper mode. And right now, our people are suffering. We've been deprived right now because the whole coastline is wiped out.
This is the third highest grossing boat ramp in the entire state, and it's been closed for 2 years now.
The people have to transport their boat all the way to Hilo to go fishing to make a living. It is hurting, it's suffering. They're suffering. This place is very important, and if we don't take a stand, they will just suppress us. And we are tired of being suppressed.
There is plans to eventually do a dredge, but we've been talking about that dredge for 2 years now. It's easy to see why some people would jump in and be like, it's very meticulously planned to get people out of the area.
That isn't some conspiracy. Disaster relief is expensive. Rebuilding is expensive. And for those who don't call Puna home, rebuilding over and over again can seem pointless. That's why some government agencies have refused to fund new housing and other infrastructure in lava-hit areas. Some Hawaiian politicians have even suggested banning new local construction. Now, the county government is trying to incentivize residents to move out of the areas most vulnerable to eruption, lava zones 1 and 2.
The way that they're doing that, first and foremost right now, is an optional buyback program funded from the federal government. They're trying to take the land that was destroyed in 2018 and make it into government land of some kind.
I'd want them to wake up, and I want them to take action. 3.5 years is too long. Yeah, the people need to survive now.
If the GDP of the island depended on that road being open, I tell you, that road would be open.
This is the one field that we're actually going to be crossing.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's definitely hot.
Yeah. And it will probably have some kind of hot spots in the crater.
I should have worn long pants.
The recovery process for our community has been extremely slow comparatively to other disasters around the country. We've been really pushing for road recovery and infrastructure.
Smiley is a midwife and also works at a nearby Home Depot. Like a lot of locals, she's still picking up the pieces since she lost her home. Before 2018, her property was something of a local gathering place, hosting a farmer's market and other community events. But all that ended when the lava came.
This view now, it's all lava field, but from afar you could see all of the houses.
The whole town of vacation land that used to be over there is now covered in lava.
Except for about 3 or 4 houses. Yeah.
Though her house was destroyed, some of Smiley's property was spared and remains green. The land also contains a volcanic cone of scientific interest, which is why volcanologist Rick Hazlitt joined us on the journey.
We're on the flanks of a cone that formed about 350 years ago through a tremendous steam blast eruption. You can still make out the essential fabric, embedded fabric of the rock. And then, if possible, scrape off some sample here. It's muddy. It's all very muddy.
What are you looking for?
We came into this location today, Kapoho Crater, to search for deposits that we think hold the key to the future explosive eruptive hazards associated with this district, Lower Puna.
Rick is looking for evidence that magma erupted into seawater and caused a big steam blast eruption here a few centuries ago. A detailed study of the ash grains could confirm this if they discover chlorine trapped inside tiny gas bubbles.
The past is the key to the future and the frequency and the types of eruptions that take place.
How does this inform disaster prevention?
It has a practical applied value in terms of not simply protecting people down the line, but giving them clearer parameters about how to safely live in this landscape.
This is like glass coral.
Isn't it?
Oh!
It does look like coral.
That's so sharp!
The work that we do here really will help inform, ideally, a lot of social efforts, including land use zoning, insurance, plans and preparations for evacuation.
Some research even posits that we're likely to see more frequent and potentially violent eruptions around the world as climate change melts glaciers.
When a big ice sheet retreats, it reduces pressure on the crust, which means there's less pressure on a magma body, molten rock underneath, and pop, it's more easy to erupt.
Am I in any danger right here, falling into a lava tube or something?
You could do yourself some bodily harm by sticking an arm into one of those openings. You could cook fish.
Oh my God. Yes, you could definitely cook a chicken in here.
It's beautiful right now, all the vapor with the sunlight.
I inhaled something. Volcanoes are chock full of stuff you probably don't want to inhale, like sulfur dioxide, hydrogen fluoride, carbon dioxide.
Worry is growing tonight about air quality as Mount Kilauea continues to erupt.
These plumes of ash fall, really these clouds of ash bursting up from the summit of Kilauea.
There's no escaping it. The fog, the volcanic fog.
That consisted of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and the toxic sulfur dioxide.
You can clearly smell the sulfur in the air.
Air pollution from volcanoes can be serious business, leading to skin irritation, respiratory issues, and worse.
People had breathing issues, and then you had to close your windows in your house. The air quality has been bad for years now, and we're trying our best to be able to manage.
Residents are already being warned about the VOG risks from the current eruption. And though the lava isn't anywhere near homes yet, we can only wait to see what Kilauea will do over the next coming weeks and months. Learning to live with some form of danger is just a part of life around Kilauea, and finding moments of peace and spiritual understanding is key for the people who still call this place home.
Don't worry about any pain.
Oh my God, don't worry about any pain, it's glass, Charles.
Well, you gotta be zen about this.
Oh, I'm so zen.
Come on, confess, it's kind of comfortable, isn't it?
It's so comfortable.
You will never look at lava the same way.
If you don't understand, you can get afraid of it. That's the difference about raising up over here in Hawaii and knowing you can have a volcano pop out any day.
It's a blessing, at the same time comes with a lot of challenges. You have to have a very optimistic view in life to enjoy it, because if you're just gonna get scared with lava constantly, you won't be able to enjoy the beauty out of it.
I mean, there's devastation, but there's also creation. The beginning, scratch point, the start of a whole new landscape is pretty impressive, almost spiritual, you know?
Yeah.
It is spiritual.
If you lose something to this lava flow, it wasn't yours to begin with anyway. This land belongs to our kupuna, or belongs to our ancestors. We are the product of our geography, and we are the way we are because of our landscape and what's on it. And if you cannot handle it, then I guess you have to go.